Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook. Hello, you gorgeous beauty pro, and welcome back to another episode. I'm really excited for you to get into this one today. I had the pleasure of interviewing the gorgeous Helena from Scratch magazine. She is the managing editor. She is phenomenal. We had an amazing chat, and I really can't wait for you to listen and take all of her words of wisdom. We also did 2 bonus questions that went into the private community on Facebook. So make sure you click the link in the description after you've listened to this episode. Get yourself over there, join if you're not in there already, and have a listen to the bonus questions. Trust me, you are going to want to know what we talked about. Also, please don't forget, if you're enjoying this episode, please take a screenshot, pop it on your stories and tag me and tag Scratch as well. Everything you need to know is all in the description below. For now, I will leave you to enjoy the episode. Before I let you do that, actually, I do just need to apologise in advance for the sound quality of this particular episode. For some reason, the recording wasn't going as I had thought it was going with the microphone. But anyway, enjoy. So, Helena, can you give us a little introduction as to who you are, where you're from, and how you came to be managing editor of Scratch?
Of course. Well, I'm Helena Biggs, born and bred in Kent, as you can probably tell from the accent. And I have always wanted to be a journalist it sounds really kind of cliche, but I've always wanted to be a journalist. I've loved communicating, loved writing. So I went to uni and did a course in multimedia journalism. That was in sunny Bournemouth, which was lovely. So I was there for 3 years. And I learned the ways. This was before social media, so that probably gives my age away a little bit. But I learned sort of radio and TV journalism as well as print. So I first thought I wanted to go into broadcast journalism. So as soon as I graduated, I dabbled in radio and TV, had some questionable jobs, which probably for another podcast. And then I found myself covering an editor's position for a magazine company in Surrey. And it wasn't quite the field that I wanted to go into. And it was just the editor had unfortunately had a bit of an accident. So I ended up covering and was thrown in at the deep end. I was doing all aspects of the writing, the design, the publishing, the putting it all together, working with advertisers. And it gave me some really good experience, but I was still applying for other more permanent jobs. And a role came up at a brand called Scratch magazine, which seemed far more up my street. It was all to do with nails, bit of beauty thrown in as well. And I had the interview on the Friday afternoon at 4:30, and I started on the Monday morning. I was thrown in at the deep end at a trade show. And that was over 15 years ago. So I've been here ever since. And it's been a sort of amazing journey, but I've worked my way sort of through the stages, and I just love what I do.
Absolutely incredible. I love that. You've been there for a long time.
Long time, very vintage. I'm feeling it now. And thank goodness we work in beauty. So we've got access to some anti-wrinkle creams. That's what I can say.
Yeah, exactly. Had you ever been to a trade show before they threw you in?
I hadn't, and I was completely overwhelmed. It was in the March in 2009, and it was the Professional Beauty London show. And from this girl that had not long stepped out of uni and never been to a trade show, just seeing how big the stands were, and trade shows were huge back then. I think they were 3 days. And I was just having to kind of quickly learn who everybody was, what these brands were about, what they offered. I just remember coming home absolutely exhausted because I'd taken in so much information and been so overwhelmed by what I was seeing. But yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, they were huge. And in 2009, I think I was probably just learning or just about to start learning in the beauty world. Wowee, that's incredible. So really long time you've been there then. Now you must have seen the industry shift so much now that you're a huge part of it. So for me personally, I feel like in the last 5 years, like since really COVID, the
Mm,
industry's shifted even more into this kind of place of the influencer.
yeah.
And, you know, it must be hugely daunting for people that are fresh into the industry because if they don't know how to stand out on social media and, you know, you've got all these influencers around them, how do you think that in this day and age, a nail tech or a beauty professional can raise their profile in this industry that's forever changing?
Oh, I mean, just touching on the social media side of things, it's so difficult. And like I said, when I first started or at scratch, we didn't have social media. We barely had a website. We had a holding page, and now we're constantly trying to keep up with all the algorithm changes. And we can spend an hour on a post making it look amazing and be really proud of it, and then get 8 likes.
Yeah.
And it's so incredibly frustrating. So I get that business owners and nail professionals can be really disheartened by social media not playing ball or working in their favor. But what's the phrase? Comparison is the thief of joy. And that's so true. I think the main thing is, as a nail professional or a beauty professional, is to know that you shouldn't be comparing yourself to everybody else. You've got to think on more of a local level. The people that end up paying your bills are your clients, your bread and butter. And as long as you're keeping them happy and you're posting content that's relevant to them, then that's amazing. That being said, obviously social media is a great marketing tool, but there are other ways to market yourselves. So entering competitions is a huge one, and I'm a massive advocate of that in the nail and beauty realm, because having run competitions myself, I run our annual Scratch Stars Awards, and I also work on a supporting level for Nail Olympia competitions, which Scratch also owns. I see the dynamism of people that enter and what they learn and what they gain and what they achieve from it, and it's all about putting yourself forward, growing in confidence, personally, but also from a professional level, growing your skills and making yourself better in every aspect of it. Your timings are better, your kind of creative concepts become better, your refinement is better. And I just feel like by taking part in those competitions, that can really help raise your profile. Even just entering, it gives your clients something to talk about, gives you something to post about on your website, on social media. And if you reach the finals, or you get a medal or a trophy or anything of that ilk, then you've got opportunities to go to the press. You can shout about it more on social media. Your profile's raised amongst brands. You can approach them and be like, I'm an award winner. Would you like me to create something for you? And there's little ways like that competitions can open so many doors. And I think it's all about having that self-confidence and just not comparing yourself to anyone else, but doing what's right for you. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you said that because it's all about, you know, it is the social media world, it is this influencer kind of world that we live in, but it's about doing what makes you happy, isn't it? Like you said, doing what you want to do. And just, I think entering competitions is huge because you've got the opportunity then to shout about it. And that's what you need is social proof.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to what you said about attracting the clients, really, because that's what's important in a nail tech's world or a beauty therapist world who actually wants to run their business with bums on seats. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you don't want to go down the route of being this huge brand ambassador or going into digital marketing space and, you know, going online more, your business and your bread and butter, like you said, is your clients. So it's all about attracting them. And social proof is what does that,
Yeah.
I think. So I think with the awards,
just shouting about that you've entered, that is social proof. So for anyone listening that thinks, yeah, but what if I don't win?
This is the argument I have all the
Mm.
time with not necessarily an argument, but this is the battle I have with people, because it's like, you don't enter a competition to win. Just please go with that mindset, and you go to learn. Yeah, competition is great because you're up against other people, only to gauge where your skill set lies in
Mm.
relation to them. A medal at the end is an absolute bonus, but you're going into a competition environment to see how you measure up and see where you need to improve your skills or what areas you need to work on compared to other people. That's the name of the game. And yeah, it's I feel like that message gets lost sometimes because people are just like, well, I haven't won, I'm not going to bother anymore, and
Yeah.
talks down, and that's it. That's not the attitude to have.
I agree. You've got to just think, I'm learning every day that I'm part of this process, haven't you? It's
Mm.
so much to take in because I remember I've only ever done small, tiny little competitions on like groups and stuff and won little bits here and there, but never won any big awards. But I remember entering the Scratch Awards once, the stars, and it was nice to even fill in the form.
Yeah,
Like, do you know
that's
what I mean?
exactly it.
You don't have to be a finalist, it doesn't matter because it's like an experience just knowing who else is entering and what's going on and what are the categories and what does the form look like, because it's actually way more in depth than I ever thought it would be. And you know what I mean?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, damn you, Helena. No, it's brilliant. So what else as well do you think actually correlates to more success, more recognition for pros and things other than social media? I know obviously we've touched on competition now, but a lot of pros do want to work with industry publications like yourself or other ones, and they may not necessarily love social media.
Yeah. I think it's just communication more than anything. I think
Mm.
a lot of people message us, how can I be a part of your magazine? I'm like, well, tell us your story, like, or send us some links to your salon, and they've come forward, they're in our inbox, they're making our lives quite easy because it's like, fantastic, you've just served me up a beautiful story.
Mm.
And I'd love to feature you. You're an inspiration, or your salon is stunning. The journey that you've come, to get this far. It's all about kind of just putting your name out there. And I think something that's been lost through COVID is that face-to-face communication as well. So aside, emailing publications and brands and telling your local press about what you've done and, inviting them in for a free treatment in return for some coverage, that's all fantastic. But going back to your bread and butter, your clients, a lot of people just don't go and use the more organic routes anymore. Like, what happened to paper flyers? They're actually a very successful marketing method. Having something tangible in your hand that, how many people have got a notice board at home where they've put, a business card up, or they've popped something up. It's like, oh, I need to remember that. That's a local service. Or they get those local magazines through the door, the free magazines, and just seeing the adverts in there. I always have a look at them. I have them to hand. I needed a taxi the other day that wasn't an Uber. I needed to kind of pre-book something. And, I had, from the moment I moved in, a business card on my notice board, and I was like, oh, I'll give them a call. Fantastic. It's just, a lot of that has been lost. And I do think that's a really successful way to drive new business and to promote yourself. And even just going, if you're a high street salon, or you're a resident salon, but you live near a high street, or you're near a town, popping into them and be like, look, here's some money off for your customers, or would you want to exchange leaflets, going into florists and raising your profile that way, so that your business cards are on their reception desk, and you take or you get some flowers from them once a month or once every 2 weeks or something. And when people ask about them, you say, oh, they're from here, here's their business card. It's kind of that cross pollination of business that I think has been a little bit lost since COVID, because now everyone's got so reliant on digital media, social media. That's the only way I can put myself out there. It's not. You've just got to be a bit creative about it.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone that is actually relying on social media as well? Because I don't think it's a very safe space all the time.
No, I think it's challenging, because I think when you're just on social media, you're spending a lot of your day on that, and it's hugely time consuming. Like, I know from when I first started, having no social media. And now it's pretty much the majority of my day is spent planning, organizing, scheduling, creating. You've got to weigh up, is that bringing you enough business? Is that doing what you need it to do to earn money in the long run? Yes, it's great to be an influencer if you want to do that, but you kind of need to do that full time in order to make money. And but if you're just trying to do that alongside your clients, you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. Is it worth your time spending that long on it? Maybe just put aside an hour a day. And it is quite difficult when you're putting yourself out there. We're currently working on a big article on safety, because social media, a lot of people own home salons now. Once they've put their name up and they've put their home salon space up or where they're located, unfortunately, it can be quite easy to find you. And so social media can be a little bit tricky in that respect. I think you have to navigate it very, very carefully. And there are just some pointers to bear in mind if you are using it as your sole promo tool or source of new clients.
Yeah, I agree. And think home-based is, it's different, isn't it? When it comes to social media and relying upon it for, client base, I just think it's a little bit difficult because you don't own that following. You don't own the base of, clientele. And at the end of the day, in the beauty world, what we want is a database of clients' information that are happily returning to us on a regular or even not so regular basis, but that's still our business. That's what we would have as an asset if we spoke about what we actually own, And so I think getting off of social media is such a big thing, and people miss it because, like you said, that's what we do now, right? Yeah. It's like this thing. Everyone thinks that if you start a business on social media. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the mentality, but then that means you're never off it. It's 24/7 and clients feel like they can message you at any point of the day and get cross if you don't reply to them within a couple of hours. So I've heard of so many techs that just feel completely overwhelmed by being contacted, but because their business is only on social media, if someone doesn't get a reply within 10 minutes from you, they're going to go somewhere else because I found someone else on social media, and that's quite damaging. So you almost need to just stick to your guns and be like, here's my booking system. You can book 24/7 on that. But if you have any questions, I'll reply within these hours. And it's about setting boundaries and kind of sort of benchmarking your professionalism, really, and just being like, you know what, this is who I am. These are the hours that I work. I will answer your questions in good time. And no information gets lost in DMs then. And I just think there's better ways to manage yourself than on social media as well.
I love that. And I think that's it. People come on into this industry and they think that they're starting a business, they need to have social media, and that's the business. It feels like that's the full-time job sometimes. I want this podcast to help people realize that it actually isn't that, and your business is your database of your clients that are happily returning to you, and you have to take it off and to raise your profile and do all the rest of it, like you touched on. There's so many other things you can do, and I think a few of those as well are things like just having a booking system, like you said, showing the professionalism and taking things offline. So not fully offline, but I mean off social media. So things like emails, taking their email and keeping in touch that way, things like the booking system and all the rest of it. It's just so much better than having to always rely on this piece of social media app on your phone all the time. It's just not so great. What also comes alongside all of this that we're chatting about when it comes to social media is, of course, imposter syndrome for people, right? Because they want to keep up with what they see going on. And it's such a horrible thing when you feel like you're not good enough, or you feel like, is your skill set good enough? Do I deserve this level of success? Should I even put myself out there? Should I not bother? So it can really stop us in our tracks. I've had it so much, especially since 2020 and 2021, becoming a coach, taking on clients and stuff. So could you tell us as well, I know that many people know who you are and they probably think that you don't get it, but I'm sure you do. So can you let us know if you have experienced imposter syndrome and how you sort of manage it?
Absolutely. I think, to be honest, I think everyone's probably experienced imposter syndrome at some stage of their life or their career. And I'm absolutely no different in that. I think it's human nature to kind of compare yourself, whether you're comparing yourself to another nail tech, whether you're comparing your social media, or you're comparing yourself to another editor, a journalist, and seeing how people are approaching things and doing things. You know, there are always those instances where you think, oh, I should have done that, or I could have done that way. And why didn't I think of that? But at the same time, if we all thought exactly the same, we would cease to exist, basically, to put it dramatically. If every nail tech was exactly the same, there would not be an industry. If everyone used the same products, created the same nail art, priced everything exactly the same, gave the same experience in a white clinical space, there would be no industry. It would be dull. The beauty of the beauty industry is that it's vibrant. Everybody's different and everybody has a very different skill set. And it might just be, I think, and just, I guess, relating it back to me, yes, I always compare myself to other editors or other publishing platforms. That's a given. And I'm like, oh, I wish we would have got that story and approached it that way. But then they could be thinking that about us and be like, oh, you jumped on that really quickly. Fantastic. It's always going to be, you're always going to compare yourself to somebody else, but they're probably doing exactly the same. And I just think if you're obviously with my nail hat on, but this is relatable to beauty, the fact is that carving your niche is the most important thing. You know what you're good at. You might be a natural nail care specialist. Fantastic. You're using this brand and you have a lovely sort of white, clean looking space. But then you've got the really creative nail tech who specializes in portrait nail art, and they're in a really quirky space. And, they might have multicolored hair and they've got music blasting. And that's what some clients are after. There's different clients for different professionals, and that's what makes this industry so exciting. So you've just got to figure out what's your niche, and you'll attract those clients. So there's that phrase again, that's your vibe attracts your tribe. And that has always kind of held really true with me, because it's like, you know what, you just want to attract the people that you want and that want your business. It's no worth you doing crazy extensions and amazing avant-garde nail art if you're and then feeling sad that you haven't attracted like the older clientele that just want a red overlay for the weekend. It's just, you just got to think, what's your specialty, embrace that, work on that and promote yourself as that, and you will attract the right people to your business. Don't go comparing yourself to someone down the road who's doing something completely different, because you're doing it your way.
Yeah, I love that. I just think as well, that will help them get past it, won't it? If they think, let's focus on what it is that I love to do, what it is that I'm actually good at doing. There have been times in the past that I've thought I couldn't figure out what I really wanted to do, because I was like, well, I love lashes, but actually I really love nails. And then I was like, let me just figure this out, and you do have to actually take some time. I don't know about you when it comes to imposter syndrome with what you do, but I think in the creative world, when you're doing things like an array of beauty things, it takes some time to really knuckle down and think, well, who is it that I really want to work with on a day-to-day basis? What can I base my niche off of? And therefore, how does the vibe come through? Because it's not necessarily the output, if that makes sense. It's not like, it's not always the nail that's the niche. It can sometimes be you. It can be the personality. Absolutely. It can be the values that you have. It can be what you stand for. It could be something different,
That is exactly it. And you know what? That's why we created the Scratch Stars Awards, because trade show competitions and the nail Olympias of the world, that is solely based on skill and the perfect nail creation. A Scratch Star, the reason why we ask so many questions, that entry form, is because we want to learn about you. We want to understand how you deal with scenarios, what your customers are saying about you. Okay, you might not create the most perfect nails in the UK and Ireland, but you've created a really lovely set of nails that your client is happy with, and they've really enjoyed the experience and given you 5 stars and 100% positive feedback. I personally would much rather go to a salon where it's a warm, friendly tech who's given me a lovely experience. I've really enjoyed my hour there, than someone who is so head down on creating the perfect nail that they don't talk to me at all. There's no atmosphere and it's cold. It's different preference. Some people may like that. That's the beauty of this industry. But I do think that it's finding what your vibe is and portraying that, and you will attract people that want that. And it doesn't matter that you're not attracting everybody. You don't want to. You haven't got the time. That's for the other people down the road.
That's another thing, because you can't please everyone, can you? So if you've got somebody, your life would be so hectic, or your day-to-day work would be so hectic if you had so many different clients coming in wanting different things all the time. You want to have like a structure of how your day runs and what type of thing it is that you're doing all the time, don't you? When you touched there on the Scratch Awards, I just wanted to say the way you do it as well, you actually advocate for people that are really smashing it on social media. You have the categories for the home-based nail tech now, you have the salon, you have like the mixed media stuff as well. So I feel like it really does cover the whole array of sort of skill sets, and whether you are focusing on becoming that influencer on social media or whether you are focusing on the client natural nail specialist side of stuff, and you do cover absolutely everything, so that is fantastic as well.
Thank
I
you.
love
We
that.
try, and I think, I mean, we just want to be responsive to industry. And even this year, when I was going through the applications, I've actually thought of 2 new categories that I want to launch next year, just seeing how the industry is moving, evolving and changing. And, you know, we've got 18 categories this year that cover those different facets and specialties in the industry. Like you said, you know, people that are great at mixed media. We've got natural nail care specialists. We've got home salon of the year, nail salon of the year, which is your, you know, your stereotypical high street salon. And, you know, I'm looking next year. I mean, don't completely hold me to it because I need to do a bit more research, but foot care practitioner of the year and online educator of the year, because online education continues to boom. And while we have an educator category, it's for traditional educators that are, you know, college lecturers, for example. But I think online education is now huge. So it's all about kind of, this industry is constantly moving and it's evolving and it's changing. Thus, I've been here for 15 years and not got bored of it because it's incredible. And I just think you've just got to find your place within it and just shout about it. And whatever skill sets you have, whether it's, you know, being a hugely personable tech or beauty therapist, it's you've got a great environment, or you specialize in a certain type of art, for example, that's what you've got to take on board. Don't compare yourself to what everyone's doing, but stay in your lane and just promote the heck out of it.
And that's it. And you have to promote the heck out of it. And I think this whole conversation that we've had is really giving me the vibe of like, you have to put yourself out there. You cannot, if anyone says to me, like, how did you get to where you are today, Zara? I'm literally like, I'm no one special. I just literally talk to people, right? I always get in front of people because, and I just have since I was young. That's how I stepped into fashion. That's how I stepped into beauty, really. It's how I stepped into sales, and it's how I'm now here now. So it just, if anyone listens to this is thinking, how do I do this? You just have to send that first email. You have to put that, the first step forward, I think, is what I'm really getting from all of this, and just build that confidence. It comes over time, doesn't it?
Oh, it so does. And I think it can be difficult for some people. And I do completely appreciate that. Anxiety is a huge thing. And it's become even more prevalent since COVID as well. People are scared to put themselves out there. And I do think that nail techs in particular are very notorious for not knowing their own worth and their value. That's reflected in their prices. Thankfully, we have movements like the Nailtech.org's the Price Increase Awareness Day to kind of support them. But that came as being part of a community. So don't be scared to join communities, whether it's going to trade events or organisations that are holding seminars, for example, or workshops or mini pop-ups. But if that isn't quite your thing, then join some online communities. There are so many beautiful communities like yours on social media. And it's, again, finding your tribe, find who you feel comfortable with, that maybe you can ask some questions. You know, you can just kind of liaise with them and talk about what's going on in your realm, or sort of spilling things that have happened and how do I approach this, or you know, sharing problems, sharing success stories within online communities and in-person communities. I think is really, really valuable.
It is. And I think that when you are surrounding yourself with people that want to grow their business in a sort of similar way to you, and you have this mindset where you want it to be a certain way and take it really seriously, because this industry is kind of split. I don't know if you agree, but we do have a lot of professional people in this industry that want to earn really big money and do really, really well, or just earn a decent living is really as well what I mean. And then you've got people that do this as a hobby. And I feel like that's sometimes why it's so split. And I don't think it's ever going to really be a whole place, especially in the UK, because we're not as regulated. I don't think it's going to be a place where you can ever really get around that. So I find that a lot of people I speak to, they need that community more than ever, because the people that they're speaking to about running this business and having this successful thing, they don't really get it, because their perception of the industry is totally different to like me and you and the people that understand the real professional side of it. So yeah, I love everything that you said. What I also wanted to get into with you on this podcast today is a different topic when it comes to the actual sort of sharing of people's work. And the reason I'm moving on to this is because recently, and I think it is because of the world of the influencer that we live in, this whole new thing. But I've noticed a real grey area when it comes to sharing or like featuring people's work. And, you know, some people are really happy with that and they think, you know, more audience, the better. Other people are commenting and liking, and great. But other people obviously are a bit like, well, we're talking about there's no permission here. There's no proper credit sometimes here. And with the way that social media is, it just seems quite grey to me. And obviously coming from a publication point of view, I think that you're a great person to ask for like your stance on that. Maybe you know something that I don't know when it comes to if there's official rules. I don't know. But yeah, what do you think about all of that?
So, I mean, on our platforms, we love sharing the work of talented nail professionals. But the main thing is giving them the credit. So we never, ever repost something without tagging that person in the post and crediting them. And 99.9% of the time, they are ecstatic that we've done that, which is lovely because their work has been shared on a reputable platform and it's been recognised. To be honest, I say 99.9%. I can't remember the last time someone told us and said, you know, take something down. And but you have to do it properly. I mean, there is no legality when it comes to reposting somebody else's work. However, it is strongly advised that you should ask for permission, but you must always credit it. That is a given. You absolutely have to do that. But also to safeguard yourself, because obviously now professionals are using social media to post pictures of their work, to promote what they're doing and to attract attention, to make their feeds look colourful, to gain the attention of potential clients and also existing clients as well. So we know that they're using it for that, but my advice then would be safeguard yourself by putting your logo somewhere on that picture, and somewhere that if someone tried to pass it off of their own, they wouldn't be able to, because they wouldn't be able to Photoshop it out. And, you know, if you're not comfortable with people reposting your work, even with credit, put that in your bio. You know, say, you know, please don't post without permission, or put it in the caption. Just, you know, have a copy and paste job ready in your notes that says, do not repost without permission. It's as simple as that, because there are no real rules when it comes to reposting, apart from you must use credit, because you have to clarify where that original post has come from. Otherwise, then you could be done for copyright and various other things. There is one other thing to be very aware of. If it's a very sticky area, if say a photographer has taken an official image and you've then taken that off of the internet and put it on your feed. So I don't know, Getty Images, for example, they take lots of photos of celebrities at events. You can't then just pull that off of the internet and pass that off as your own or repost it, because that photographer has been paid for that job or has a license on that photo. And because they have an official license on that photo, you cannot use it unless you pay for it or unless you get permission from them, but they will ask you to pay for it because that's their livelihood. So don't go reposting pictures off of the internet that have been taken by photographers unless you get their permission. But Instagram photos, mainly of nails, for example, they're in the public domain. So they can be reposted with credit. But like I said, if you have any problems with it or you don't want people doing that, consider putting a watermark or a logo on top of your pictures, or just stipulating in your bio or in the comments that you don't want that work stolen. If anyone credits your work, if anyone reposts your work without credit, then you have the right to be very, very angry.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I do think so. And you know, there's been loads of things that have happened that where I see and I'm like, wow, that was a bit cheeky. That was a bit
Mm.
ridiculous. And so I think it's just a case of again making your voice heard, isn't it? Like you said, I didn't think about that actually. You could put things in your bio. I mean, I tend to think of the best in everybody and think that that wouldn't happen, but it does.
Yeah.
But also I always say to the clients that I work with, don't make your kind of profile a negative space. So
Mm.
maybe you could highlight things like T's and C's and stuff like that and
Yeah.
just pop it in there, or featured sections and stuff. But most people would be ecstatic, like you said, if an account like Scratch Magazine is reposting their work, they are over the moon, happy with it.
Mm.
What happens when people, this is just off topic, but what happens when people repost memes, because I've done this, of celebrities? I'm worried now. What happens
Oh, that's a
to
good
that?
point, actually. I mean, it's someone's created it in a comedy space, and memes are meant to go viral, aren't they? So I
Yeah,
think again, it's all very, very grey when it comes to social media law, but memes are designed to go viral. So someone has created that, wanting it to be spread.
yeah,
So I think maybe there's different rules when it comes to a meme, and they're just funny. They're engaging, aren't they? And usually with memes, there is often a bit of a logo somewhere, or someone's put something,
mm,
but a lot of people can then go and recreate them. So
yeah,
it's very difficult to track the source of those because they go viral so quickly. Like
mm,
social media policing is impossible, and it always will be impossible. So yeah, it's very, very hard in that respect, actually.
mm,
So a good point when it comes to memes, but yeah, I mean, I just still think you should also credit the source where you first saw it or first
mm,
seen via this account.
yeah,
Um, there was one other point actually I wanted to raise, just in particular to nails, because I get a lot of inspiration for nails that I want from people that follow us, or people that we follow, and things, posts that we've been tagged in. And I go to my nail tech and I'm like, I would like this, please. But can you add a touch of sparkle? And anyone that follows my Helena Scratch Magazine account will see that the last couple of posts are sort of my nail looks. And I'm like, saw this design by X person on Instagram. So took it to my nail tech, who is tagged, and
mm,
she recreated it and added a touch of sparkle. Yeah, and I think that that's so important. If you've been inspired by something, don't try and pass it off on your own. There's no shame in being inspired. You know,
mm,
we're inspired by fashion trends every single day. The weather inspires us to, as to what we're going to
yeah,
wear that day. So I think you always need to just give credit where credit's due, and just, even if you haven't taken the full design from someone, just be like, this look inspired me. That person will be like, most of the time, they're like, thank you so much. The reason why I put it on social media is, to inspire others or to showcase my work. So I'm really pleased that it's been inspired. It's inspired what you're creating, and I love the twist you put on it. And it seems to be like a really happy place. People are quite overjoyed that they think, oh, my work's now made it on this account, and I've been tagged there because of my original creation. That's really nice. So yeah,
mm.
always tag whoever's inspired you or what has inspired you.
I used to love it. Every time that Scratch would repost my nails, or they'd go into the magazine, or they would, I remember when I did my nails for Scratch Awards ceremony, the party, and they were on the next one's advertising thing, because obviously the photographers take it. I was like, they're my nails. That's so cool. So I love it. But I think as well, it's just, knowing the rules and always crediting. But what's the difference, Helena, when it comes to like, say I am posting like a whole portfolio of my images on Instagram, and
Yeah.
what's the difference if you like print it, if people like put it into print, or if you put it in the magazine or whatever? Is that different?
Because it's coming out of the digital space and it was only posted in the digital space, it cannot be repurposed in print.
Ah,
So they would absolutely have to get permission to do that. Some people have asked if it's like our front covers, for example. A lot of people really like to put them in frames and put them in their salon, and they come to us and ask, and I say, well, I haven't got a problem with it. That's great, but I'm actually going to ask the photographer and the nail tech who provided us with this front cover and who are behind the photo shoot, because ultimately it's their work. And it's down to them. They might want to find out, okay, well, how is this work being used? Is it being passed off as someone else's? Is it being used in a decorative space? Some might be like, yeah, that's fine. Other people be like, well, actually, no, I don't want you to put my work in your salon space because that's mine.
mm,
So you have to ask permission in that respect, and then it's down to the original creator what they say.
This is so interesting to me because you see things like that all the time, don't you? Like gorgeous nails on there, on salon walls and things like that. And you do think it's elevating that salon space, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I suppose
absolutely.
it's so different when it is in like a commercial setting or a business setting, isn't it? Wow.
Absolutely, because like, the key word being there is it's commercial, and you know, ultimately, everyone needs to earn a living in this day and age. And if people have spent time and money creating a professional photo shoot, and put all of that together, and there's been a number of people involved, you need to ask them permission before you spread that work, because it's not your right. You don't own that photo, so you can't put it in that photo frame, for example, without asking for permission. I mean, you could probably get away with it, but it's not advisable because it's just nice to be nice, right?
Absolutely. It's nice to be nice. I love that. What I wanted to ask you as well, I finished this podcast with these interviews with the same question all the time. So everybody in this industry is probably taking themselves a bit too seriously. I want to lighten their mood a little bit today. Can you tell us a funny story or something that might be embarrassing that's happened during your career?
Oh, I've got so many of those. But the one that springs to mind is, this was, I can't even remember what year it was, but I've only a couple of years into my time at Scratch, and OPI had come out with an Alice in Wonderland themed collection, in collaboration with the film, that was coming out. And they were holding a press event at the Disney headquarters in London. So standard press event, you go, you learn about, the shades, the range. Someone might do a presentation or a talk, and you usually get a goodie bag. That's how sort of press events work. So they're usually quite light-hearted and fun. And we were like, fantastic. So myself, the deputy editor at the time, and my boss had all been invited by the distributor of OPI at the time to this event at Disney HQ. And so we'd all decided to go up together, and we were going to get a car up to London. And that was on, I think, the Wednesday or something. So on the Tuesday, we were in the office, and it got to about 4 o'clock. And I said, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we turned up in fancy dress? And my boss was like, this is genius. So at the time, I had like white blonde hair. And we quickly called round some fancy dress shops, and we found one and raced down to it, and myself and the deputy editor. And we found basically an Alice costume, which had big puffy sleeves. It had a hoop skirt. It was like this shiny blue material, most unflattering. They had a cute Queen of Hearts costume with a big puffball skirt. And then for my boss, we called him. We're like, you've got the choice of a giant bunny onesie or a Mad Hatter's costume for this Alice in Wonderland theme. And he went, grab them both. I'll decide in the morning. So we decided to then meet at his house to get the car. And I'm dressed up as Alice in this big puffball blue thing with a hoop skirt. Deputy editor's in the Queen of Hearts costume. And then Scott, boss man, decides to go as the Mad Hatter. And I then had to go and park my car about half a mile away. So at 7:30 in the morning, I'm running down the road dressed as Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it gets worse, Sarah. Don't worry about that. And so we got in this car, end up caught in traffic. People are staring at us in traffic. Get out at Disney HQ. And I kind of had visions of it being like Disneyland, like just fun, Mickey everywhere, colourful, bright. It was the most corporate premises I think I've ever been to. It was, everyone's in suits. Everyone was quite serious. And we walked in as Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, and the Queen of Hearts. They take one look at us, and they sort of nodded upstairs. So we got on the escalator, and we were a little bit late because of the traffic. Probably about 20 minutes late, walked up. No word of a lie, there was probably about 250 people at this event. At the top of this escalator in a big sort of open space, I just saw these three big characters come up. There was like every consumer press magazine you could imagine there, because we were all there to kind of watch the film, enjoy this press event. And I've never been so embarrassed. Like, it got a lot of laughs, but it was just the vision. And I found a picture the other day, actually. My boss had one on his phone, and we did look aside. We ended up having to sit at the back of this sort of cinema space watching this film. We took 2 seats each because we had hoop skirts, big hats. No one wanted to sit behind us because of what we were wearing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was just, oh God. But then we left the press event and our car, again, got stuck in traffic, so was late. So we're standing outside Disney headquarters. I can't remember where it was, maybe Hammersmith. So this really busy intersection. And Neil Fox, the radio DJ, just drove past a minute and started beeping at us and talking us out the window because you've never seen a Mad Hatter, Queen of Hearts and Alice in Wonderland standing in the middle of the street outside the Disney HQ. So yeah, that was pretty embarrassing, but a memorable nail event.
That's amazing. Oh, do you know what? You had no idea what the reception would be like, right? You were just like, let's just do this.
But you know what, the next collection, I think, or one of the next ones that OPI came out with when they did a collab with a film was the Shrek collection. Oh. And I said, nope, there's no way I'm going as Princess Fiona. No, that's it, done.
You draw the line.
Yeah, draw the line at that one.
Oh, bless you. That's so good. I love that you were just like, I'm just going to do this. It's actually super fun. I would have loved it.
Commitment.
Absolutely.
There's commitment to the nail trade, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely some dedication going on there. I love it. Perfect. So before we go off and do 2 bonus questions for the private community, so anyone who is listening, we are doing 2 bonus questions today with the lovely Helena, and they are going to be answered and they'll be directly in the Beauty Build group on Facebook. So you've got to get yourself in there to listen to those burning questions, which I know that you're going to love. So get yourself in there. The link is in the description. But for everyone listening, Helena, before we wrap up, where should people be following you and Scratch Magazine, and what's going on? What do they need to know?
Oh, well, we've got so much going on. Okay, definitely follow us on Scratch Magazine, on Instagram and also on Facebook, where it's Scratch Mag. You can follow me if you like, helena.scratchmagazine. I tend to post things that I'm up to in the working world and some fun adventures as well. So also, if you can, sign up to our newsletters. We only send a couple a week, but they detail all of the competitions that we've got coming up that you might like to get involved in, news, events from the nail industry. And also we send Scratch Magazine free to your inbox each month if you sign up to our newsletters, and you can do that on the Scratch website. But we are constantly posting stories to inspire you on our website every day and on our social media platforms as well. So just follow all the links there. And you can also subscribe to Scratch Magazine if you want to via our website.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop everything into the description below this, wherever you're listening to it, so you can have a little click around and find everything at ease. But thank you so much, Helena. I've absolutely loved chatting to you, and I'm going to get into even more now for the bonus questions. So for everybody else listening, I will see you all on the next one.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.